Hello and namaskar viewers, I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to the Business Talk with AJ, the weekly show right here on ITV Gold. This is a show brings you latest from the world of business, not only from US but from the world as well. But the key thing is that the news that you want to know, not only business news but business related news and the stories which you may have missed it somewhere. So we just make sure that we bring you that story, the news story, so that way you can be updated. And of course, this is all brought to you courtesy by Mr. AJ Kumar of Sai CPS Services, a full-fledged accounting firm located right here in the state of New Jersey with multiple locations, and they can help you with your personal accounting as well as corporate accounting. A to Z, starting a company, payroll, bookkeeping, full-fledged accounting, and multiple tax returns. They can help you out. Even if you have association, non-profit organization, Science CPA Services can certainly help you out. You can give them a call at 908-380-6876 or sciencecpaservices.com is their website. With that note, let's begin this week's The Business Talk with AJ, and that AJ is Mr. AJ Kumar of Science CPA Services. Sir, good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Sanjeev. I appreciate that. Absolutely. In this show, we help you analyze the news. We bring the news that you can use. You hear a lot of news in the market. Some of it you register, some of it you see and you forget. We help you understand what the news means to you. How do you use the news that's out there in the market?
Right. And whatever stories we bring it, we always bring it to a point where there are important lines for you to understand. So pay attention to it. We're going to begin with the story which they say that US is heading into recession. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon just said that US is definitely heading into recession. Ajayji, what's your take on that?
Absolutely. I agree with John. But recession is not that bad. People use the word recession to scare a lot of consumers. Recession only means that for 2 quarters, US economy did not increase. So there was slightly decrease in the US economy. So that means the US economy is in a recession. That's just general business as usual. No economy in the world will keep going up all the time. If 2 quarters your economy is not growing, that means you are in recession. A lot of banks, a lot of CEOs, a lot of other financial sector will try to scare you to sell your stocks, to buy certain things, to sell certain things. There is nothing to be scared about recession. People are talking about depression, which is slightly more worrisome. A depression means that the economy is going down for 6 consecutive quarters, which is not going to happen, or at least we are not expecting that. Recession, you need to consider, you need to be aware of, but nothing to be scared of. US economy is heading into recession, no big deal. You will still have grocery supply, you will still have a lot of food, you will still have everything business as usual.
Absolutely. Jamie Dimon's comment was followed by September job report.
Absolutely.
And job report was not that encouraging, and that's when he went on to say that US is heading into recession 6 to 9 months. Now viewers, make it a note that this is a part of a business cycle. This happens, and of course Fed is trying to control inflation. They have raised interest rates a couple of times, and they may do it sometime before the end of the year. This is all to control inflation, because whatever the country's situation happened after COVID, right? So now we need to control that. We need to get back into the normal shape, which will occur, I would say, maybe by summer of 2023 or definitely fall of 2023.
Absolutely.
So right now, nothing to worry about it. What you need to worry about and concern about is the housing market. Housing market is taking a real beating right now because mortgage rates are very high. When Fed increases interest rates, of course, borrowing costs get higher. And when borrowing costs gets higher, that's when it affects all the interest rates, and a mortgage is one of them.
Absolutely. And mortgage or the housing market is part of the reason why we feel that the US market is going into recession. So as Sanjeevji rightly mentioned, based on your income, all these mortgage companies, they see how much monthly premium, monthly mortgage you can pay. This is how they compute it. Depending on the interest rate, your interest portion of that monthly payment will be higher or lower. If you're really low interest, then you can afford a house of $500,000 if the interest is very high. With the same income, now you can afford a house of only $300,000. So the affordability goes down when the interest rate increases. Now we are expecting that in November, our Fed will increase the interest rate again to at least 50 basis point, if not 75 basis point. That's a huge increase. And this will be another increase potentially in January. The mortgage rates, at least the refinance mortgage rates, are over
7%.
Over 7%
I was just going to say
now.
that. As it is, conventional mortgage rates are high, but what we are seeing right now, refinance rates are also 7.7%.
That's extremely high.
So for someone to consider 7% refinancing the house right now, Ajay ji, their current interest rate, mortgage interest rate must be at least 9.5 or 10%.
You wouldn't find it.
Because exactly, so who's going to refinance? No one's going to refinance.
And
they would be very silly.
Be refinancing right now, because in 2022, in the beginning of 2022, mortgage rates were cheapest for so many years, for the last 12 years. So everybody who wanted to
2%, 3%.
Exactly.
We were closing loans in April, March, April, 3%, 3.5%.
Absolutely. So if anybody is trying to convince you to refinance your home, please stay back. Don't do it right now. This is a cycle. It's going to come back again.
Right.
And then you can refinance.
And the government agency, Fannie Mae, also said that interest rates are going to rise. So just be very, very careful.
Absolutely.
One good thing is happening with that home buyers, maybe somebody wants to buy the house, and if they can, if there's a reason for it, they will buy it. They're not getting into the bidding wars, because last 6 months we saw nasty bidding wars when it comes to buying a house. So at least that's not happening.
Everybody had the affordability. For the same house, you will see multiple offers, more than the asking price. That situation is changing, or has changed. Now the housing market is cooling down.
Correct.
Housing prices are going down slightly for last 3 months. That's a good news.
Absolutely.
At least coming out of the bubble. If it continues to happen for long, it creates a bubble. And then when it bursts, it creates more pain in the market. A lot of people will not be able to pay the mortgage.
Absolutely.
People will go into the bidding war, buy a house that they cannot afford, or is too much money for them, and then after a year or 2 years, when they lose job or when something happens, that becomes a situation when they stop paying the mortgage amount.
Absolutely. So you can't buy the house, you can't even sell the house right now, but just be patient, wait out 6 to 9 months, and hopefully it will get better. Obviously, I wish we could bring better news. Now let's go to stock market. Nasdaq really hit it low this time, huh?
Nasdaq is lowest in last 2 years. Once the recovery happened after the corona, this is the lowest point we have seen this week for Nasdaq. A lot of stocks are suffering for various reasons. First, the interest rates are high, so you can get more money by putting the money into a fixed deposit or certificate of deposit. When the interest rates are high, you can get better money in the bond market, in the stock. So a lot of money is being moved into the gold market just because the gold prices are lower. They always work in the different direction, in the opposite direction. So when you have alternative investment, that's when the stock market starts suffering. When there is a lack of trust in the stock market, when there is a war somewhere in the world, that's when the stock market is suffering. And we expect the stock market to remain like this, turbulent. We are not saying it's continue to go down. One day it goes up and the next day it sort of goes down substantially. We call it a turbulent market. So this is not the market for people who have a dream. We put the money in and we don't touch it for the retirement. This is not the market for you to be entering in. This is the market where you do the hedge fund, where you do the swap. So it's not the market for the normal investors unless you are really, really qualified. You want to stay away from the stock market right now.
Well, investors are losing a little bit of faith in the stock market, and when companies report their quarterly earnings, obviously there is a little disappointment here and there, because they are also trying to do their best, but when when there's inflation up there, what can you do? So don't even think about investing anything in the stock market. What you have up there, you decide whether you want to live it or you want to take out. It's all up to you. We're not giving you any tips, we're only giving you news. When it comes to news, let's talk about something very interesting that everyone is talking about it nowadays. This is what it's one of these topics discussed in the living rooms or at the dining table and everywhere. It's electric cars, EV cars. Everyone's talking about it. And this, I think the excitement of EV cars and all the auto companies, right? Talking about EV cars, investing in EV cars, it's happening a lot sooner than we had expected.
Absolutely, it's going very fast.
We are in 2022. In less than 7 to 10 years, It's going
That's
to be
how it
bigger
is.
EV cars.
So if you remember, suddenly Corona happened, everybody was working remotely, and it became business as usual. Nobody expected. I mean, before Corona, working remotely was something that was frowned upon, and now it's business as usual. Exactly same thing is happening with the new incentive that the government is giving. Up until last year, there was no incentive on Tesla. There was no incentive on Ford. Now there is a new plan. Now you buy the Tesla and you can still get the tax breaks and everything else. So with the new tax breaks, with the new investment, all these companies are investing large amount of money. And they're taking it one step further. Elon Musk just announced that they will be investing $972 million, almost $1 billion on electric trucks, small trucks, for the small businesses. That's a huge news. Honda announced that they are investing $7.9 billion in batteries, and they are going to be producing these batteries in US,
Right
in
here in
America.
US.
That's a big news. I mean,
Honda is tying up with LG, Korean company LG.
Absolutely.
So they are tying
Absolutely.
up, and altogether they're going to put in, almost $8 billion, $9 billion in order to do that. But you said Elon Musk announced it. It's Amazon announced it,
Absolutely.
$972 million.
Absolutely.
Elon Musk announced that Pepsi will have its first, electric truck.
The electric truck. So now they're taking the electric vehicles from the general consumer to the small business.
Yeah.
Consider when every small business, the small trucks are all electric vehicles. That's the next step. And Honda, with $7.9 billion of investment, will be producing batteries by 2025. In next 3 years, Honda is expecting the electric vehicles to be more popular, the electric automobile market to get more saturated. So there will be a lot of demand for such batteries. And being the first mover's advantage, Honda will be in the prime spot to be supplying the batteries for all these electric vehicles.
One thing I like about this news story is that they're going to produce batteries. They're going to rather manufacture batteries.
Absolutely.
Right here in US, we won't have to rely on any country like, for the chip that we had to rely on a company in Taiwan. Taiwan is coming during COVID. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Korea.
Absolutely.
And we had to rely on them. So now at least the battery is going to be manufactured here in the US. So that makes it a lot easier for electric vehicle owners to get the batteries replaced and whatnot. All right, so that is it for the first half of the Business Talk with AJ show right here on ITV Gold. Remember, the show is brought to you by Science CPA Services, a complete, knowledgeable and experienced accounting firm. With their experienced CPAs can help you with any accounting matters. You give them a challenge and they will resolve it. They'll make sure your taxes are filed right, and they will make sure that you get the benefits that you deserve. So do contact them, Science CPA Services, at 908-380-6876. With that note, we're going to take a short break. We shall return after this messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the second half of the Business Talk with AJ show. In case if you have just joined here, remember viewers, this is a weekly show where we bring you the latest business stories from US and from all over the world, and the stories are analyzed and informed and told us by Mr. AJ Kumar of Science CPA Services. Now let's move on to the gold price.
Absolutely. So the gold price is going down slightly. Week over week, it's around $1,700 per ounce now. It's not too bad. We expect the gold price to remain in that range, continue to go down at least till the first quarter of 2023. As you were mentioning, in the first half, gold prices and the stock market typically go in the opposite direction. So we are expecting the stock market to remain turbulent till the first quarter of 2023, and the gold price to remain consistent and keep going down slightly till the first quarter. If you remember, after Diwali in the winter season, once the marriage season is over, a lot of time the gold price go down slightly anyway every year. And this year we should have a little bit more impact just because it's lower to begin with anyway.
Exactly. Okay. So that is interesting. That's your currency rates. Obviously, everyone really looks at it and say, what is happening to rupee against a dollar? Obviously, that's that's a thought that comes to everyone's mind. We want to see rupee is doing better, meaning not in terms of 82 rupees, but a little better than that. But there's nothing to worry about. Rupee is doing good in its own world.
Absolutely. So that's the point here. So it's not the rupee going down. It's the dollar getting stronger and stronger every day. That's why you are able to buy more rupees for the same dollar. So now we saw last week the rupee rate was 82.82. That's huge, very, very high. But the dollar is very strong. Rupee is strong. If you leave the dollar outside, you leave the dollar aside, rupee is very strong compared to a lot of other currencies. It's the European market that's creating a fluctuation, creating a situation when the US dollar is becoming more and more stable, more and more strong. So if you look at the European market, a lot of countries are suffering the recession. We have the US-Ukraine war, we have a new president, we have a lot of situation going in the European market. And euro is lower than a dollar, which was other way around for the whole world, for whatever we knew. So now with a stronger dollar, it seems the rupees is going down. You can buy more rupees, true. And we expect the similar situation to continue at least for the next few months, where we have the dollar to get stronger and stronger until this war stops, until the European market comes back to normal. Dollar will get stronger and you can buy more rupees, but other than the dollar, rupee is getting stronger compared to a lot of other currencies.
Okay, so that's what the situation is right now. Holiday season is just around the corner, and like me, like AJ, and many of you like to really shop online. So here is an interesting story about online shopping, how it's going to work out, and what exactly are they predicting the number?
Absolutely. So the prediction is for the online shopping, for the holiday shopping, and typically a lot of that shopping happens during the Cyber Monday week. After the Thanksgiving, in that week, there are a lot of sales around. Economists are expecting $210 billion, which is around 2.5% higher than the 2021. So we are expecting more sales, even though if you look at the same situation, the same economists are saying we are in recession, but they're still expecting more and more holiday sales when it comes to the online sales. The difference though, they're expecting less sales in the Cyber Week. In that week, a lot of retailers, just because there's a lot of competition, nobody wants to be left behind. A lot of retailers are starting their Cyber Week sales from October itself. Instead of having 1 week sale, they have 6 week sale. So in total, the online sales will be slightly higher than 2021. But for Cyber Week, just for that week, the sales are expected to be lower, and the sales, meaning discounts that you expect, will be lower than what we had last year.
That's going to be interesting. So, if they can stick to this number, $210 billion, let's see what happens. All right. Facebook, the parent company of Facebook, Meta, is in the news. Meta uncovers 400 malicious apps designed to steal your Facebook login.
It's going to be a continuous struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we believe in the technology, as much as we believe in the online world, 400 apps. And we are only talking about metaverse.
Yes.
We are only talking about Facebook. We are not talking about, there are 10 other sites over there. There is TikTok, there are 10 of them. So just for Facebook, there are 400 ways for somebody to steal your identity, to steal your information. So when you are going on these online websites, be extra careful. If you have a bank online, make sure there is a double security. Before you log in, before anybody log in, there has to be a code coming to your phone. So everywhere, try to tighten the security. As we move towards more and more online technology, you have to be extra careful as how you protect your information.
Very good. Okay, let's bring in news from India right now. Let's begin India's business news. The International Monetary Fund, known as IMF, lowers India's fiscal year 2023 growth forecast to 6.8%. on slower pace. Let's see what happens. But 6.8% is still not that bad.
Absolutely, and that's the key here. Even though the way the news was presented in the international market, that they are lowering the forecast by 20 basis points, it was expected to be 7, now it's going to be 6.8, and everybody was saying, wow, India is not doing as well because it's going to be 6.8. But India at 6.8 is actually doing very well. If you remember, in the first half, we were saying US economy is in recession or going to be in recession because the economy has negative growth. Economy is going down. 6.8% increase is a great increase for many, if you compare the growth. And for many countries, 6.8% is a dream that they cannot achieve. So 6%, 8 may not be as high as 7% that was expecting, but still, a great increase, a great growth.
All right, if I may add a line, data released at the end of August showed that the Indian economy grew by 13.5% in April to June period.
Yes, absolutely. So 1 quarter, and that can be slightly misleading at times because the quarterly data is not as accurate. Sometimes the sales from March goes into April and June goes into July, but 1 quarter, 13%. That's what we are talking
13.5%, and
Exactly.
the economists had predicted 15%.
Absolutely,
So,
that's India.
Let's see, sometime maybe their prediction is a little bit too high. But anyway, let's go to Bollywood. Let's bring in a Bollywood news from a Bollywood, very interesting news, and this will really put a smile on your face. And if you're an Amitabh Bachchan fan, I just want to let you know Amitabh Bachchan has turned 80 years old on
Absolutely.
October 11th. So he's 80-year-old man, but when you see him on TV and everything being so active, movies and all the endorsements, right?
Absolutely. He
This
looks
80-year-old
young.
man works like 50-year-old man. So God bless him and wish him happy birthday. And of course, because to celebrate this milestone 80th birthday, there was a celebration planned all over in India, especially PVR Cinema had announced that they're going to be showing about 11 of his movies at the price of rupees 80 each, the
Yes,
ticket price.
absolutely, because
Okay.
it's his 80th birthday.
Yes.
Everybody.
Back to
And
the beginning, and
Absolutely.
they had wonderful list of movies. This Back to the Beginning is a blockbuster festival, right? And movies were like Dawn, Chupke Chupke, Satya Pe Satta,
Absolutely. Great
Namak
movies.
Halal, Amar Akbar Anthony, Diwar, Millie, Kala Patthar, Abhiman, Kalia, and Kabhi Kabhi. I mean, can it get better than this?
Yes, absolutely. He's one of my favorite stars.
Yes. So this was the news for a couple of days,
Absolutely.
And Amitabh Bachchan also to get a special tribute. This is the tribute. You know what they did in the movie theaters whenever the last show was supposed to go past midnight, the theater owners and the distributors, exhibitors agreed to stop the film at 11:59 p.m. and exactly at 12 a.m. on October 11th, they decided to celebrate Bachchan's birthday. Happy birthday, Amitabh Bachchan, and everything.
Absolutely.
Little celebration in the theater, and then the movie began a couple of minutes after that.
Absolutely.
This is
Everybody in the whole
interesting.
world.
Yes.
We see fans of Amitabh Bachchan everywhere, in every single country, and everybody is enjoying in their own way the great man's 80th birthday. And as Sanjeev ji said, he looks like there is no tomorrow. He keeps working.
He keeps working.
You still have a lot of shows
and
on
he
TV.
inspires us by doing
Absolutely,
that.
he does, definitely.
Obviously, he has a choice to stay home and not do nothing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But he just wants to keep himself busy. And he always says, I like to work so long as I can work.
And God bless him.
God bless him. Okay. All right. Let's talk about cricket. T20 World Cup is going to be starting in about a week or so. By the time I think when we come for the next week's episode, we'll have a latest update on T20 World Cup. And it's going to be starting very soon. So, but there was a series between India versus South Africa in India, and South Africa, India beat South Africa in that one-day series. They won the series. So let's see what happens. Are you a cricket buff?
I am a cricket fan. I mean, I enjoy watching cricket match. That's my favorite pastime.
Exactly.
So after the Australian series, India won the Australian series. Now India won South Africa series. Australian series was on the edge. I mean, you could go either way. But
Exactly.
South Africa series is convincingly one-side game.
Exactly.
I mean, especially the third match that we saw.
Yeah, third one day was one-sided,
completely
but the other
one-sided.
two one days they gave it a good fight.
Absolutely.
They
the
only
only
gave
country
it a
that
good fight.
scares me with this whole game is Sri Lanka. Nobody counted Sri Lanka anywhere. They won the Asia Cup.
Yeah.
So they could be a big
Hey,
fight.
listen, once in a while, underdog like that comes up.
Absolutely.
And it takes a trophy away, and that's exactly what Sri Lanka did in Asia Cup. But this T20 World Cup is going to be interesting. And like I said, next week or the week after this episode, we'll have a little more details for you, that Group A, Group B, and the matches schedule and whatnot. But, cricket brings in also a lot of money for a lot of businesses also. So that is also part of our business story. All right. Now, expect trade with India to cross $100 billion in 2 to 3 years. UAE, United Arab Emirates, says that.
That's amazing. I mean, the way that India is growing, and there is no politics around it. I mean, you can be this party or that party, but I think you all have to agree that India is doing very well in last few years.
Exactly.
Everywhere. I mean, if you look at any statistics, any sort of measurement, India is growing. Outside India, we have a lot of exports, we have a lot of imports, and India is doing wonderfully well.
Yes. Okay. Talk about doing wonderfully well. I'm sure that entire year 2022, Science CPA Services did wonderfully well for their clients, whether it's a personal tax returns and extensions to be completed, or even corporate tax returns to be completed, LLC, S corporation and C
Absolutely.
corporation. Now basically you have just wind down the year 2022.
Well, you're right, but this is the time when the real planning happens. A lot of people, Sanjeev ji, come to us in January, February, what can I do to save taxes? And I say it's too late.
Too late.
You have to do some planning. So between October 15th and December 31st, October 15th is the deadline for all extension. Once you are done with filing 2021 taxes, once that story is over, that's the real time, October 15th to December 31st. This is the real time for you to start doing the planning for this year. Now you know how much money you will be making. This is the time for you to consider where do you invest the money.
Yes.
Do you have a tax deferred investment? Do you have tax saving investment? Do you have qualified investment? What can you do with the money that you made before the year end to make a difference to your tax liability?
All right, so for all your planning and strategies and putting into effect, do contact Science CPA Services 908-380-6876 or their website sciencecpaservices.com. With that note, we come to an end of this week's The Business Talk with AJ right here on ITV Gold. Mr. AJ, thank you so very much for your time and for your contribution to the knowledge and the business stories and everything else. I am Sanjeev Pandya, wishing you all happy and a good week ahead. See you next week. So long.
Thank you.